single name, whispered in a Michelin-starred restaurant, was enough to shatter a billionaire's perfect world. Adrian Petro, an icon of power in the tech industry, a man who could buy and sell companies before breakfast, froze at the sound. The name came from a trembling waitress, her hands shaking as she knelt to clean shards of glass. But it wasn't the broken glass that stopped his heart. It was the name she called him, a name buried under 2 decades of wealth and lies. Why would a man who commanded empires crumble at a word he hadn't heard in 20 years? The answer lay in a story of stolen dreams, a forgotten promise, and a secret about to change everything. The Gilded Compass was no ordinary restaurant. It was a cathedral of power, where titans of the city came to feast on ambition. Adrian, in his usual corner booth, was dissecting a proposal from his top executive, Genevieve Dubois. To him, dinner was not pleasure. It was another battlefield. Then came the crash. Glass and water scattered across the marble floor. A young waitress, Maya, flushed with embarrassment, stammered apologies. Adrian brushed it off. An accident, nothing more. Until she looked up at him, nerves twisting her words into a name. My apologies again. Mr. Daniel. The restaurant fell silent. Genevieve glanced up, puzzled. But Adrian's world collapsed. The pen slipped from his fingers. His skin drained pale. He stared at the girl as though she were a ghost. What did you just call me? His voice was not the command of a billionaire, but a whisper stripped bare. Maya froze, panicked. I'm sorry, sir, my father. His name was Daniel. I don't know why But Adrian wasn't listening. Memories he had buried clawed their way back. A dusty garage, the smell of solder, the laughter of a man with fire in his eyes. His best friend, his partner, Daniel Rodriguez. With a roar, Adrian dismissed everyone, Genevieve, the staff, even Maya, until he sat alone, trembling in the booth. His empire, his identity, all felt as fragile as the glass she had shattered. Because now the ghost had a daughter. The ride back to his penthouse blurred past neon lights and rain-smeared windows. Adrian sat hollow, clutching whiskey that did nothing to thaw the ice in his chest. Genevieve, he rasped when his executive answered the phone. I need you to investigate the waitress, off the books, utmost discretion. Maya Rodriguez. He whispered her name like it might break him. I want to know everything. Meanwhile, across the city, Maya poured out her shame to her mother, Maria, in their cramped apartment. I called him Daniel, Mama. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. I'm going to lose my job. Her mother, weathered by years of double shifts and illness, tried to soothe her. Mija. It was a slip of the tongue. Maybe the name reminded him of someone. But Maya wasn't convinced. The way he looked at me, it wasn't confusion. It was pain. For Maya, her father was only fragments, the smell of metal and rain in his workshop, his rough cheek against hers, his laugh. Daniel Rodriguez had died when she was 5, in a car accident during a storm. His partner, whose name Maria never quite remembered, had delivered the news, paid for the funeral, and vanished. Along with him disappeared Daniel's research notes, his invention, and any hope of financial security. They were left with nothing but grief and unanswered questions. That night, Adrian stared at an old photograph on his massive monitor. 2 young men grinning, arms slung around each other beneath a hand-painted sign that read, DA Innovations. Daniel and Adrian. The file Genevieve compiled confirmed what he already feared. Maya Rodriguez, 25. Art history student, top of her class. Working nights at the restaurant to pay her mother's medical bills. Struggling under debt, their apartment mortgaged, hospital notices piling up. It was a life carved out of hardship, a life Daniel's family endured while Adrian lived in a palace built on Daniel's stolen dream. The guilt pressed down on him like iron. He had told himself lies for years, that Daniel would have wanted the work to succeed, that investors left him no choice. But staring at Daniel's daughter in a candid photo, Adrian saw the truth. He hadn't just stolen an algorithm. He had stolen a future, their future. Days passed and Maya braced herself for termination, But no pink slip came, no reprimand, nothing. Then, a week later, a letter arrived. Her mother's hospital debt, nearly $10,000, had been paid in full. Anonymous donation. "Mama, look!" Maya cried, tears spilling. Maria clutched her to her chest, whispering thanks to heaven. An angel must have been watching. Maya wept with relief, but a seed of suspicion lingered. The timing was too perfect, too convenient. She couldn't prove it, but deep down she knew. The billionaire she had accidentally called Daniel was no stranger. He was the key to a secret buried in the dark, and now that secret was awake. Who was she to question a miracle? 2 weeks after her mother's hospital debt vanished, Maya received another letter, this time from the dean's office. She had been awarded the Phoenix Legacy Scholarship for the Arts. A full ride, tuition, books, living expenses, all covered. Funded, the letter explained, by a private philanthropist who wished to remain anonymous. First the medical bills, now this. Lightning didn't strike twice. This wasn't fate, it was intervention. And Maya could only think of one man with the means and the motive. Adrian Petro. Was it pity? Guilt? A way to buy silence after his public collapse? The very name, Phoenix Legacy, felt deliberate, corporate, almost taunting. Meanwhile, Adrian Petro was orchestrating everything from the shadows. His guilt had become a machine of restitution, each act of anonymous charity, another layer of penance. Genevieve, his trusted executive, managed it all through shell companies. "The scholarship has been accepted," she reported one afternoon. "The hospital bills cleared, a specialist is already scheduled, insurance approved." Adrian stared out his glass-walled office at the skyline he owned. His reflection in the window looked more ghost than man. Is the girl all right?" Her advisor says she's relieved but confused. She knows this isn't random luck. Adrian's jaw tightened. "It's the best I can do. I can't face her. What would I even say? Hello, I'm the man who stole your father's work while your family struggled to survive." The words dripped with venom, self-loathing he'd carried for 2 decades. Genevieve, seeing his torment, spoke gently. "Perhaps money isn't what she needs. Perhaps she needs the truth." But Adrian turned sharply, his eyes burning. The truth would destroy everything. The company, the shareholders, my entire life. And for her, nothing but pain. I'm giving her a future. Even as he said it, he knew it was a lie. He wasn't protecting Maya. He was protecting himself. The donations weren't for her. They were his anesthesia, numbing a conscience that refused to die. And the ghost he had tried to bury now had a face. Maya's face. The obsession consumed him. He couldn't focus, couldn't breathe. He had to see her again, not as the billionaire in the corner booth, but as a man seeking something. Forgiveness, a glimpse of Daniel's fire in her. He learned her habits. Afternoons in the art museum, studying beneath sunlit skylights. That's where he went, dressed down, no entourage. For once, Adrian Petro felt like an intruder. He found her in the sculpture garden, a heavy textbook on her lap, her notes written in precise, elegant script. The sunlight touched her dark hair, and for a moment he just watched. She looked so much like Daniel when he was lost in thought, focused, untouchable. Finally, he approached. His footsteps echoed softly against the stone. "Excuse me?" Maya looked up, startled. Recognition struck instantly. Her pulse thundered. "Mr. Petro." She began gathering her books, preparing to flee. "Please don't go," he said quickly. "I wanted to apologize." Her eyes narrowed. "For what?" "For my behavior at the restaurant. You startled me, and I was unkind. I hope I didn't cause you trouble." His delivery was smooth, rehearsed. "It's forgotten," she replied coolly, but Adrian pressed on, feigning casual surprise. "I also heard a promising student recently received our Phoenix Legacy Scholarship. That was you, wasn't it?" Maya stiffened. There it was. Confirmation. Yes. And the hospital bill? Her voice cut like a blade. Adrian faltered for only a heartbeat. My foundation supports many causes. We help when we can. Why me, Mr. Petro? What do you want? Her fire caught him off guard. Daniel had carried that same spark, the refusal to be intimidated. Against his better judgment, Adrian abandoned his script. When you said that name in the restaurant, it belonged to someone I knew, a long time ago, a partner, a friend. Maya's breath hitched. Her father's name was Daniel. Her father had a partner. Could it be? What was his last name? She demanded. Adrian hesitated at the precipice. He couldn't tell her. Not yet. It was a long time ago, complicated. We had a falling out. I never knew what became of him. A lie. A terrible, twisting lie. I see, Maya said softly. But her eyes told him she saw through him. He changed tactics. Your scholarship file was impressive. Your professors speak highly of you. I oversee a foundation that supports arts and culture. We need people with vision. I could offer you an internship, paid, of course. Something that uses your mind, not just your ability to carry a tray. The offer was staggering, a golden key, but Maya sensed the trap. This wasn't charity, it was control. Why are you doing this? Adrian's gaze shifted to a bronze statue of Icarus, wings melting in the sun. His voice was low, heavy with unspoken meaning. Let's just say I have a debt to the past and I believe in paying my debts. He placed a card in her hand, his private number. Think about it. The offer stands. And then he walked away, leaving Maya trembling on the bench. Her father's ghost was no longer a faded photograph. It was real. It was here. And its shadow was bound to the most powerful man she had ever met. The question was no longer if they were connected, but how. And what terrible secret was Adrian Petro still hiding? Frank Miller had been digging for weeks, chasing fragments of a vanished past. What he discovered was explosive. Adrian Petro, billionaire tech visionary, hadn't existed 20 years ago, but Adrian Price had, and he disappeared the very year Daniel Rodriguez died. Records showed Price liquidating DA Innovations, selling off its patent for a fraction of its value, then vanishing. A year later, he re-emerged across the country as Adrian Petro, head of a new company built on a revolutionary invention. Frank needed proof. He cross-referenced the name Rodriguez with Petro. He expected nothing until he found a gossip column about an incident at the Gilded Compass, where Petro reportedly lost his composure at a waitress. Her name, Maya Rodriguez, Daniel's daughter. Frank felt the old thrill of the hunt. This wasn't just corporate maneuvering. This was betrayal, identity theft, and a 20-year-old lie. He approached Maya outside her campus, looking more like a rumpled professor than a predator. Miss Rodriguez? She turned, cautious. Since her encounter with Petro, she distrusted strangers. My name is Frank Miller. I'm an investigative journalist. He handed her a card. I'm working on a story about the early days of the tech industry, specifically a brilliant inventor named Daniel Rodriguez. I believe he was your father. Maya froze. Her coffee trembled in her hand. My father? Why? I believe his legacy was misrepresented, Frank said carefully. He had a partner, a young man named Adrian Price. Her eyes widened. Price, not Petro. I don't know that name. You wouldn't, Frank replied grimly. Adrian Price doesn't exist anymore. He changed his name to Adrian Petro. Maya's book slipped from her hands, thudding to the pavement. The scholarship, the hospital bills, the internship. Petro's look of terror in the restaurant. He hadn't reacted to a random slip. She had spoken her father's name. What are you saying? She whispered. I'm saying, Frank's voice hardened, that Adrian Petro's empire rests on your father's invention, and he's been lying about it and himself for decades. The words haunted Maya. She remembered the official story of her father's death. A car accident on the coast road. News delivered by none other than Adrian Petro. Now she felt a dread colder than grief. It wasn't just a stolen invention. It was a stolen life. Anger replaced sorrow. She refused Petro's internship with a curt email. This was her fight. She needed proof. Her mother kept a dusty box of Daniel's belongings. At the bottom, beneath, notebooks and dog-eared paperbacks, Maya found a thin leather journal. Inside, amid formulas and diagrams, were personal notes. March 12th. Adrian is a marvel. He pitched our algorithm today. I build it, he sells it. Perfect partnership. April 11th. Pressure from Blackwood Capital is immense. Adrian is edgy. Less about changing the world, more about quarterly projections. May 17. Big fight today. Adrian wants a new contract giving Blackwood control and pushing me out. He says I'm naive. June 5th. I can't shake this feeling. Adrian avoids my calls. I found a clause. Sole ownership of the patent goes to him if I'm incapacitated. He says it's standard. It feels like a threat. Driving up the coast tomorrow to confront him, Maya's blood ran cold. Her father died that very day. The accident wasn't coincidence. It was convenient. Driven by fury, she hired a data recovery specialist. From an old hard drive labeled Project Sparrow, he salvaged work files and a single audio recording. Maya listened, trembling. A younger Adrian Price spoke. He's not signing. Thinks it's more than just a product. A voice from Blackwood Capital answered coldly. We don't pay for sentiment. Is he going to be a problem? Price lowered his voice. He's driving up to see me tomorrow. The coast road is dangerous. Accidents happen. The investor replied, I trust you'll handle it. One way or another. Then Price's chilling words. Don't worry. I'll handle Daniel. The file ended in static, but it was enough. Whether by design or by silence, Petro had profited from Daniel's death. Maya arranged a meeting on the very cliff where her father's car had gone off the road. Petro stood by the railing, stripped of his usual armor, a man waiting for judgment. This is where you were supposed to meet him, Maya said coldly. He didn't deny it. She played the recording. His own young voice filled the air. I'll handle Daniel. Adrian broke. Tears streamed down his face. I never touched him, he pleaded. But when I heard about the crash, my first thought wasn't grief, it was relief. I took his notes. I lied to your mother. I built my empire on his genius. Every dollar poisoned, every night haunted. Maya's heart ached with fury, but also clarity. Prison would not undo the past. True justice was forcing him to live with it. You're going to give my father back his name, she said. Weeks later, the tech world reeled as Adrian Petro stood beside Maya at a press conference. He confessed. He credited Daniel Rodriguez as the true inventor. The company's research division was renamed the Daniel Rodriguez Institute for Innovation. Half the company's shares were placed in a trust for Maya, not as charity, but as rightful ownership. Petro kept his freedom but lost his legacy. His name became a footnote. Daniel's genius, stolen and buried, now shone in the light. For Maya, it wasn't about revenge. It was about remembrance. About a stolen legacy restored. Justice, she realized, isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's truth finally brought into the open, no matter how long it was buried.